a top Hamas official, and allies' vows repeat of October 7th attack. A senior Hamas leader has openly praised the October 7th attack on Israel, declaring that the Palestinian group is willing to launch similar assaults in the future until Israel no longer exists. The Times of Israel reported on Ghazi Hamad's statements, emphasizing the severity of the threat. Ghazi Hamad, a member of Hamas's political bureau, shared his remarks during an interview with the Lebanese television channel LBC. The interview was later translated and published by the Middle East Media Research Institute, MEMRI. Hamad did not mince words. Israel is a country that has no place on our land. We must remove it because it constitutes a security, military and political catastrophe to the Arab and Islamic nations. We are not ashamed to say this. Hamad went on to argue that Israel's existence is illogical and that it must be erased from all Palestinian lands, a term Hamas uses to refer to the West Bank, Gaza and Israel, excluding the Golan Heights. We are not ashamed to say this. Hamad went on to argue that Israel's existence is illogical and that it must be erased from all Palestinian lands, a term Hamas uses to refer to the West Bank, Gaza and Israel, excluding the Golan Heights. We are ready to pay the price. We are called a nation of martyrs and we are proud to sacrifice martyrs, declared the Hamas official. Hamad also reiterated Hamas's assertion that they did not intend to harm civilians, blaming complications on the ground. Furthermore, there has been evidence of terror attacks against Israeli civilians over the past 3 weeks, as directed by Hamas commanders, as reported by the Times of Israel. UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly expressed support for Israel, noting, "How can there be peace when Hamas is committed to the eradication of Israel?" US presidential candidate Nikki Haley echoed this sentiment, saying, "Believe terrorists when they tell you who they are. This is why there should be no ceasefire until Hamas is destroyed." In another development, the Hamas-run government media office in Gaza reported a high death toll from Israel's strikes on the Jabalia refugee camp, with many people missing. The statement indicated 195 people were killed and 120 missing, with 777 more wounded. On the Israeli side, at least 15 soldiers lost their lives during the ground offensive in Gaza, marking the first publicly confirmed casualties within the enclave. The New York Times reported that the casualties, mostly infantry soldiers, were incurred during attacks on Hamas-affiliated targets. US President Joe Biden called for a humanitarian pause in the Israel-Hamas conflict, emphasizing the need to release prisoners. He made this statement during a fundraiser for his 2024 re-election campaign in response to a protester calling for a ceasefire. The Israel Defense Force, IDF, has targeted over 11,000 Hamas-related sites since the commencement of its ground operation. It's worth noting that on October 7th, nearly 3,000 Hamas members infiltrated Israel from the Gaza Strip, resulting in a significant loss of life. Israel responded with a large-scale military operation aimed at dismantling Hamas infrastructure and vowed to eliminate the entire terror group. Several countries have expressed their support for Israel in the wake of the October 7th attack by Hamas. The events of October 7th clearly left a mark, and the threat of their repetition is a cause for concern. The memory of this day serves as a stark reminder of the volatility of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the potential for escalation at any moment. This threat from Hamas has brought October 7th back into focus, a day of violence that no one wishes to see repeated. How has Israel and the international community responded to this threat? In the face of this menacing threat from the Hamas leader, Israel has not backed down. The Israeli government, known for its resilience, has taken this threat seriously. Top officials have indicated that they are preparing for any potential aggression, reinforcing their security measures and bolstering their defense systems. On the international front, the reaction has been mixed. Some nations have expressed their concern, urging both parties to exercise restraint and avoid any action that could escalate tensions further. The international community is keen on preventing a repeat of the October 7th incident, and diplomatic efforts are being mobilized to defuse the situation. On the other hand, some nations have remained silent, adopting a wait-and-see approach. This silence can be deafening, as it leaves room for interpretation and speculation. The lack of a unified response from the international community reflects the complexity of the issue at hand. However, amidst this uncertainty, one thing is clear: the world is watching closely. The reaction from Israel and the international community to this threat from Hamas is a critical factor that could either fuel the fire or help douse the flames. The response to this threat will undoubtedly shape the course of events in the coming weeks and months. What could be the potential impact if this threat is carried out? Let's explore this. A repeat of the October 7th events could lead to a significant increase in casualties and widespread damage. This would not only lead to immense human suffering, but also further destabilize an already volatile region. The threat is not only against physical infrastructure, but also the fragile peace in the region. Furthermore, the escalation of this conflict could have far-reaching political implications. It could potentially strain international relations, leading to a global diplomatic crisis. The world's response to this potential crisis would be a test of the international community's commitment to peace and security. Moreover, this threat could intensify the ongoing debate about the balance between national security and human rights. It could force nations to re-evaluate their stance on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and rethink their foreign policies. In the worst-case scenario, this situation could even trigger a chain of events leading to a broader conflict, engulfing other nations in the process. The potential impact of this threat is vast, and its realization could have far-reaching effects. To sum up, the threat made by a top Hamas leader to repeat the events of October 7th is a serious one. We've revisited the harrowing events of that day, analyzed the reactions from various quarters, and speculated on potential impacts. The threat undoubtedly has sent ripples across the globe, and the world's collective eye is now focused on the region. The potential implications are far-reaching and could reshape the geopolitical landscape. Only time will tell if this threat will be realized, but one thing is certain: the world will be watching.